The Forbidden Zone, the map that everyone fears. Star chart displayed in the Grand Council chamber, stretched across 3 walls. A magnificent tapestry of light showing every known system in the galaxy. Trade routes glowed in soft blue colony. Worlds pulsed with gentle green, and diplomatic stations sparkled like diamonds against the cosmic backdrop. But in the eastern spiral arm, there was nothing. A vast empty space marked only by a single notation in every galactic language: restricted. Zone, no entry authorized. Admiral Kethra of the Zilani Empire stood before this blank space, her forearms crossed behind her back in the traditional pose of deep contemplation. Her scaled hide rippled with the violet patterns that marked her as one of the highest-ranking military officers in the galaxy. She had served the Council for 200 standard years, fought in 17 conflicts, and negotiated peace treaties that shaped the current galactic order. But this empty space on the map had haunted her for decades. "The question no one asks, Admiral," came a voice from behind her. She turned to see Councillor Vexme of the Aquarian Coalition approaching, his tentacles writhing nervously around his ceremonial staff. "The morning briefings are ready for your review." Kethra nodded, but didn't move from her position. "Vexme, in all your years serving the Council, have you ever wondered what lies in the restricted zone?" The Aquarian's tentacles went perfectly still, a sign of extreme discomfort among his species. "Admiral, with respect, such questions are not ... productive. Kethra's voice carried the subtle harmonics that indicated amusement in Zilani speech. "We map every asteroid, catalogue every gas cloud, monitor every cosmic phenomenon in this galaxy. But there sits a region larger than the entire Corellian sector, and we simply pretend it doesn't exist." Dexme's skin color shifted to a pale gray. "There are reasons, Admiral. Ancient agreements, treaties signed before either of us was hatched." The vanished Fleet Kethra had heard the whispers, of course. Every military officer above a certain rank knew fragments of the story. 50 years ago, the Morvac exploration fleet had disappeared near the edge of the restricted zone. 7 ships, over 3,000 crew members, the pride of the Morvac colonial authority. They had been investigating unusual energy signatures, detected by long-range sensors. The official report stated mechanical failures and solar flare activity. But Kethra had access to classified files that painted a different picture. The fleet's final transmission had been a single word, repeated over and over in desperate voices: impossible. Then silence. What made the incident truly disturbing was what happened afterward. Within a month, every trace of the Morvac expedition had been erased from official records. Ship manifests vanished, crew personnel files disappeared, even family members seemed to forget the names of their lost loved ones. It was as if the galaxy itself had decided to forget the human connection. "Admiral Kethra," a new voice interrupted her thoughts. She turned to see Dr. Alina Vasquez approaching, her small human frame dwarfed by the massive alien architecture of the Council chamber. Alina served as the chief xenobiologist for the Galactic Research Division, one of only 3 humans to hold such a high position in the galactic government. Dr. Vasquez Kethra acknowledged with a respectful bow. Despite her diminutive size by galactic standards, Alina had earned universal respect for her brilliant scientific mind and diplomatic skills. "What brings you to the strategic planning level?" Alina glanced around nervously, noting the empty chamber. "I need to discuss something with you. Something about the restricted zone." Kethra's interest sharpened immediately. In all her years of service, she had never heard anyone speak so directly about the forbidden region. continue. 3 days ago, our deep space monitoring station at Kepler 442 detected unusual quantum signatures emanating from the border of the restricted zone, Alina said, her voice barely above a whisper. The patterns are unlike anything we've ever recorded. They're almost deliberate. Ancient artifacts. Alina activated a portable holographic display, showing swirling patterns of energy that seemed to pulse with their own inner rhythm. Admiral, these aren't natural phenomena. Someone or something is actively maintaining a barrier around that entire region of space. Kethra studied the display intently. What kind of technology could create such effects? That's what concerns me, Alina replied. Our analysis suggests this barrier has been in place for approximately 200 years. But here's the truly disturbing part. We've found artifacts. Alina manipulated the display, showing images of strange metallic objects recovered from the very edge of the restricted zone. They were clearly artificial, but their design was unlike anything in the galactic databases. The metal itself seemed to shift and flow like liquid while maintaining its solid structure. These were found by automated mining drones last week, Alina continued. I've run every test I can think of. The metallurgy is beyond our current understanding. But there are traces of elements that match Earth's periodic table. The forbidden knowledge. Kethra felt her scales ripple with tension. Earth elements. But humans have been part of the galactic community for over 3 centuries. Your people have shared all their technological knowledge with the Council. Elena's expression grew troubled. That's what I thought too. But Admiral, there are gaps in human history that we've never been able to explain. Entire decades where our records are incomplete or missing. And now I'm beginning to suspect those gaps aren't accidental. She paused, glancing around once more to ensure they were alone. I think some humans never joined the galactic community. I think some of them are still out there in the restricted zone, and they don't want to be found. The secret mission. Dr. Vasquez, Kethra said carefully. What exactly are you proposing? I need to investigate, Alina replied. I need to go to the border worlds and find out what really happened to the Morvac fleet. What's really in that empty space on our maps? Kethra considered this request. As a military commander, she understood the value of intelligence gathering, but she also understood the dangers of disturbing ancient agreements. Such a mission would be highly irregular. The Council would never approve it. I'm not asking for Council approval, Alina said quietly. I'm asking for your help as a friend and colleague. Give me access to a fast reconnaissance ship and a small crew. Let me find the truth. The decision. Kethra looked once more at the blank space on the galactic map. In her long career, she had learned to trust her instincts. And right now, every instinct was telling her that Alina was right. There were too many mysteries, too many convenient gaps in knowledge, too many questions that no one was allowed to ask. Very well, she said finally. I'll assign you the scout ship Meridian and a crew of volunteers. But, Dr. Vasquez, I want you to understand the risks. If the stories are true, if there really is something in that zone that doesn't want to be disturbed, you may not return. Alina nodded grimly. I understand, Admiral, but I think the galaxy deserves to know the truth. Whatever that truth might be. Preparing for the unknown over the next 3 days, Alina assembled her team in absolute secrecy. She recruited Captain Jorik Malazan, a veteran Centaurian pilot known for his discretion and skill. Her science team included Dr. Zev Coral, a brilliant Andromedan physicist, and Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen, a human military engineer with expertise in unknown technologies. The Meridian itself was perfect for their mission, a small, fast vessel designed for deep space reconnaissance, equipped with the most advanced sensor arrays and stealth technology available to the Galactic fleet. If they encountered hostiles, they could run. If they needed to hide, they could disappear from most scanning systems. The final briefing. As they prepared to depart, Alina gathered her team for a final briefing. They met in the Meridian's small conference room, the star charts displaying their planned route to the edge of the restricted zone. "I want everyone to understand," Alina began. "We're entering completely unknown territory. Our mission is reconnaissance only. We observe, we record, we return with data. We do not engage with any entities we might encounter." Captain Malazan spoke up, his four eyes reflecting the light from the star charts. "Dr. Vasquez, what exactly do you expect we'll find out there?" Alina hesitated before answering. "Honestly, Captain, I don't know. But I suspect we're going to discover that everything we thought we knew about human history is wrong. The truth. Behind the Silence journey to the edge, the Meridian slipped through hyperspace like a ghost, its advanced stealth systems masking their signature from the automated monitoring stations scattered throughout the galaxy. Captain Malazan proved to be everything Alina had hoped for: professional, discreet, and skilled enough to navigate the treacherous regions near the restricted zone without triggering any alarm systems. 3 days into their journey, they encountered their first anomaly. Dr. Coral's instruments detected massive gravitational distortions ahead, far beyond anything that should exist in supposedly empty space. "Captain," Coral announced, his tentacles dancing over the sensor controls, "I'm reading artificial gravity wells, hundreds of them, arranged in a perfect defensive grid." Alina studied the readings with growing amazement. "It's like a maze," she whispered. "Someone has created a navigational puzzle that would take months to solve safely." The first discovery, as they carefully picked their way through the gravity maze, Lieutenant Commander Chen made a startling discovery. "Dr. Vasquez, I'm detecting debris, ship fragments, scattered throughout this region." The wreckage told a story of dozens of expeditions that had attempted to penetrate the restricted zone over the centuries. Zilani vessels, Aquarian exploration craft, even ancient Morvac ships, all trapped forever in the invisible web of gravitational anomalies. But Alina noticed something crucial. These ships weren't destroyed by weapons, she observed, studying the sensor data. They're intact, but powerless. Whatever created this maze, it doesn't want to kill intruders. It wants to trap them. The Guardian signaled deeper into the maze. They encountered something unprecedented. A signal broadcast on all frequencies in over 50 galactic languages. "Turn back. This is your only warning. Turn back now." Captain Malazan looked to Alina. "For orders, Doctor. Perhaps we should consider." "No," Alina said firmly. "We've come too far. Continue forward, but slowly." The signal repeated every few minutes, always the same message. But Alina noticed something odd about the human language. It was archaic, using grammatical structures that hadn't been common for over 2 centuries. The revelation, after 6 hours of careful navigation, they finally broke through the maze and into clear space. What they found there changed everything. Alina thought she knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. Spread before them was a thriving civilization. Hundreds of space stations, orbital cities, and defensive platforms surrounded a dozen terraformed worlds. The technology was clearly human in origin, but centuries more advanced than anything in the galactic databases. My God, whispered Lieutenant. Commander Chen, how many people live out here? Dr. Coral's sensors provided the answer. Preliminary scans indicate a population of approximately 50 million humans across 17 different systems. Contact before Alina could process this information fully. Their communication system activated. A woman's face appeared on their main screen, clearly human, but her eyes held a depth of knowledge and weariness that spoke of centuries of experience. Welcome to the Haven Territories, the woman said in perfect galactic standard. I am Director Maya Okafor of the Human Preservation Council. Dr. Vasquez, we have been expecting you. Alina felt her world tilt. You know who I am. We know everything that happens in the galaxy, Director Okafor replied. We have too. Your arrival here was inevitable, Dr. Vasquez. Your scientific curiosity and ethical standards make you uniquely qualified to understand what you're about to learn. The true history director Okafor invited Alina and her team to the main space station, where they were given the full truth about humanity's hidden history. In a conference room that could have held the entire Galactic Council, Alina learned that everything she thought she knew was a carefully constructed lie. 200 years ago, Director Okafor explained, humanity was not the peaceful, cooperative species you know today. We were conquerors, expanding across the galaxy, consuming resources, enslaving or destroying entire civilizations. She activated a holographic display showing ancient star charts. The galactic community you serve today was created specifically to contain us. The other species united against human expansion, fought a war that lasted 50 years, and finally forced us to make a choice. Alina felt sick as she absorbed this information. What choice? Join the galactic community and abandon our aggressive expansion, or face total annihilation, Director Okafor continued. Most humans chose integration. They allowed their memories to be altered, their histories rewritten, their true nature suppressed. They became the humans, you know, peaceful, curious, cooperative. The preservation, but some of us refused, Director Okafor said, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. We came here, to this region of space, and we made our own choice. We chose to preserve true humanity, not the sanitized version that joined your council, but the real species with all its flaws and potential. Alina struggled to understand. So you've been living here in isolation for 2 centuries. Not just living, Dr. Vasquez, thriving, growing, learning. We've developed technologies that dwarf anything in the galactic community. We've explored regions of space beyond your charts. We've made contact with civilizations that your council doesn't even know exist. Director Okafor gestured to the walls around them, which Alina now realized were made of the same flowing metal they had found in the artifacts. This station alone represents scientific achievements that are centuries ahead of current galactic standards. The Guardian role asterisk, but we haven't forgotten our responsibility, Director Okafor continued. We know what humanity was capable of. We know what it could become again. So we made ourselves the guardians of the galaxy, protecting other species from threats they couldn't even imagine. She activated another display, showing vast spaces beyond the known galaxy. Out there, Dr. Vasquez, are civilizations that make the old human empire look like children playing with toys. The galaxy, you know, exists only because we stand between it and forces that would consume it without a second thought. Alina felt overwhelmed by the implications. The disappearing ships, the vanished expeditions. relocated to safe colonies where they can live peaceful lives without threatening our secrecy, Director Okafor explained. We don't kill, Dr. Vasquez. We protect, even from themselves. The choice which brings us to why you're here, Director Okafor said, her expression becoming serious. The younger races in the galaxy are becoming curious about the restricted zone. They're developing technologies that might eventually breach our defenses. And some of the integrated humans are beginning to remember fragments of their true history. Alina realized what this meant. You're facing a decision point. Exactly. We can either reveal ourselves to the galaxy and risk the chaos that would follow, or we can take more drastic steps to maintain our secrecy. Director Okafor leaned forward. Dr. Vasquez, you represent a third option. You could serve as a bridge between our communities. The weight of truth. Elena looked around the conference room, at the incredible technology, at the evidence of a hidden civilization that had been protecting the galaxy for centuries. Everything she had believed about humanity, about galactic history, about her own identity was crumbling around her. What about my team? She asked. They will be given the same choice you're about to receive, Director Okafor replied. They can return to the galaxy with altered memories and a plausible cover story, or they can join us here and help shape humanity's future. Alina felt the weight of decision pressing down on her. And my choice. Return to the Galactic Council, with a carefully prepared report that will satisfy their curiosity without revealing our existence. Continue your work as a xenobiologist, but now as our agent within the galactic community. Help us monitor threats and protect the species you serve. The final decision. Alina spent 3 days among the Haven territories, seeing wonders that challenged every assumption about technology, society, and human potential. She met scientists who had unlocked the secrets of consciousness itself, engineers who could manipulate matter at the quantum level, and philosophers who had developed ethical frameworks for managing galactic-scale civilizations. But she also saw the isolation, the burden of secrecy, the terrible responsibility of being the hidden guardians of an unknowing galaxy. When she finally gave her answer to Director Okafor, it was with the full understanding of what she was choosing. I'll do it, Alina said. I'll be your bridge to the galaxy. But I have conditions. The new Alliance Director, Okafor, smiled, the first genuine emotion Alina had seen from her. Name them. No more vanishing ships. No more disappeared expeditions. Find another way to maintain secrecy that doesn't traumatize innocent beings. Agreed, and I want regular contact. I want to know what threats you're protecting us from. I want to be a real partner, not just a puppet. Agreed. Finally, I want you to start preparing for eventual revelation. This secrecy can't last forever. The galaxy deserves to know the truth, and humanity deserves the chance to choose its own future. Director Okafor considered this final condition carefully. That will be ... challenging, but perhaps it's time. Very well, Dr. Vasquez. Welcome to the real human community. Return to the known galaxy. The journey back through the gravity maze seemed like traveling between worlds, which Alina realized was exactly what it was. When the meridian finally emerged into normal space, she felt like she was returning from a dream. Her team had all chosen to return with altered memories, accepting the cover story of equipment malfunctions and unsuccessful exploration. Only Alina retained the full truth of what they had discovered. The report standing once again before Admiral Kethra in the council chamber, Alina delivered her carefully prepared report. Sensor malfunctions, equipment failures, nothing of significance. Found in the restricted zone, She even included fabricated data supporting natural explanations for the quantum signatures that had originally drawn their attention. Admiral Kethra listened intently, her scales showing patterns of disappointment. So the mystery remains unsolved. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to remain mysteries, Alina replied carefully. The hidden truth as Alina resumed her normal duties as chief xenobiologist, she carried with her the weight of her secret knowledge. She continued her research, continued her diplomatic work, continued to serve the galactic community she had always loved. But now she also served another role, guardian of the guardians, bridge between two humanities, protector of truths too dangerous to reveal. And sometimes, late at night in her quarters, she would look at the star charts and see not an empty space marked restricted zone, but a thriving civilization of 50 million humans working in secret to protect a galaxy that would never know their names or understand their sacrifice. The map still showed nothing where human space began. But now Alina knew the truth, that empty space was full of humanity's greatest achievement, its most profound responsibility, and its most terrible burden. The silence would continue, but it was no longer empty. It was full of purpose, protection, and the promise of a future when the galaxy might finally be ready for the whole truth about what lay beyond the red line on every map.